Howdy folks, how you going?
What's hi. What's ACT's
G'day.
What's ACT's position on rate caps?
Look, you've got to be able to control the costs first. That's why we're dealing with traffic management, the RMA, the Local Government Act, health and safety. There's so many costs that are put onto councils. If you don't help them save the money and then you cap the rates, you're just headed for debt. So let's see where we get to. It's been considered, but I'd be really strong on let's make sure you're saving money before you cap the revenue.
Simon Corp saying that they're making a decision before Christmas. Is that the same timeline that you're working towards?
Oh, I think you mean Simon what?
Simon, yep, sorry, not myself.
Yeah, well look, I mean that's his area. He's floated it, he's gone away to do some work. The only thing I'd say, if you're asking me, is don't cap your income until you've got your spending under control.
And in terms of GST sharing, you also mentioned that in your speech. Budget 2026, is that on the cards?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is a government that's been under pressure fiscally, so when we have a commitment like GST sharing with councils, we've been prepared to say, look, let's look at that next year. I think it's an important policy for New Zealand's long-term future, but again, so is balancing the books here in Wellington.
Do you think that they can get their spending under control without some outside central government influence?
Well, they're getting central government influence, new resource management, new temporary traffic management guidance. They're getting a simplified local government act. Right across the board, we're making it simpler for them to reduce their expenses, and then you can think about a rate cap. But let's not have out of control expenses, then cap the rates, because that's actually a recipe for debt.
Why didn't ACT support the pay secrecy bill last night?
Pay
secrecy bill last night?
The pay
transparency around getting rid of pay secrecy.
Well, it's very simple. If two New Zealanders want to sign a contract with each other, they're allowed to do it. And I don't see why we should outlaw a contract where one New Zealander signs a contract with another saying, yep, I'm going to pay you, but you can't go and tell people what I'm paying you. I think you should be able to sign a contract like that. You don't have to, but I don't see why you'd outlaw it.
Is it about market efficiency? More information means there's a level playing field?
Well, actually, it depends whose information it is. If it's your information and it's only come about through a contract with another person, I think you should be allowed to control what that information is.
But isn't it, that's your information if it's how much you're getting paid?
Well, that's true, but it's only getting paid as part of a relationship with another person, and that relationship is set down in contractual terms, and I don't think that we should ban people from making that arrangement. You don't have to. If you want to sign a contract that says I'm going to tell everyone in the world, you can do that too. It's about freedom and choice and tolerance, not outlawing two adults lawfully consenting into a relationship.
It creates an environment, doesn't it, where the employer could be paying one person unfairly more than another?
Well, it might create an environment where there's a reason for that. I mean, who knows what considerations a person has. The simple principle is that people do better in this world when they're able to live as they want to live, so long as they're not harming others. And when the government tries to impose its morality from one group of people onto another, actually you close down the range of options people have, and we don't do as well.
In that speech today, at the local government conference, you were going to mention Karakia, but you didn't end up mentioning it. Why didn't you mention it, and what did you have to say about it?
Oh, there's no particular reason, but it's true. I don't expect a priest to show up every time I break wind. I don't expect a priest to show up every time I break ground on a new building, and I don't think that you need a kaumātua to come and say Karakia either. One of the reasons stuff costs a lot in New Zealand is that to build a new IKEA, to build a Costco or whatever, you require a whole lot of mana whenua consultation that doesn't actually make the boat go faster.
But how much does a Karakia cost then?
Well, it depends. I mean, have you had to pay for someone to come along and do one in the middle of a project that you're responsible for?
Me, have I?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
No, okay,
well,
if you don't know what the price is, just don't impose it on other people. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Someone wants to build a building. It's actually no one else's business. They should be able to build a building without having someone come along and say a karakia, just like once upon a time you had to get your local Catholic priest to come along and say a prayer before you did anything. Now we've said, actually, we don't like that. We don't impose our morality on other people. And now we're saying exactly the same thing.
So when should karakia be used, in your opinion?
Whenever the people involved involved in the situation want to do one, not imposed on a third party because we're trying to impose our religious beliefs on someone else. It's pretty simple stuff. I mean, this actually happened hundreds of years ago. We moved past imposing one person's spirituality on another.
How often is Nicola Willis coming into your office to try and find money in the couch?
Look, that's budget sensitive information, but it's fair to say that, you know, she drives pretty hard on saving money. I just want to be clear for anyone who took that literally. Nicola Willis does not actually try and find coins behind the couch in my office, but that does reflect the intensity she has for saving taxpayers' money.
She comes into tries to find money from ACT more than she does from New Zealand First Ministers?
Oh, look, that's just politicisation of the noble cause of saving taxpayers' money.
On boot camps, from an ACT Party perspective and in terms of measuring outcomes, does the ACT Party believe that the reoffending rate of those in the military-style academies should be published? Should that be public?
Look, I think when you've got 10 children, you need to be careful that you don't end up revealing information where there's so few people involved that statistics can be cast onto an individual. It may well be that even as the program expands with different locations, there's always going to be a restriction on how much information comes out because the privacy of the children comes first.
You can publish that information without identifying those children. Do you think that there is any kind of room in the future for when these future boot camps roll out? Do you think that should be something that gets published?
Well, I think you should take it on case-by-case basis, ask what the situation is in the future. I would just say that my starting point would be, privacy of these children first, then work on the other outcomes.
In terms of measuring those outcomes, though, and it being able to communicate to the public whether they're working or not, isn't that important?
Well, there's no question that it's important, but let's just make sure we're getting the right information used in the right context, because unfortunately, as we've seen, people are prepared to misuse this information.
If that information was safeguarded, you'd be okay with it coming out?
Well, my priority would be the privacy of the children, and then work out the safeguards from there, and maybe you can.
There
but
is a possibility,
yeah, there's a possibility, of course.
LGNZ says that it's time for a review of the responsibilities of councils. You know, should some stuff be the national government's responsibility? Should stuff be councils, etc. You know, do you think that's a wise call at this point?
Well, I think it's happening continuously. I mean, the local government reforms that Simon Watt's put in, getting rid of the 4 wellbeings, that's a review. The restructuring to local water done well, putting that in the right place, that is effectively a review of their responsibilities. The way that we're changing planning through the RMA, so it's good they're calling for it, but I would argue the government's doing it continuously.
Is there no merit in it, given so much is in flux?
Yep.
Is there no merit to that? To doing an overarching?
Well, I think that things are in flux because we are constantly reviewing the role of local government. If they want to say stop all the stuff we're doing and then somehow have a stock take and then presumably start again, I think it's that sort of stop-start that people are actually really sick of. They want some real progress in New Zealand.
Just back on the Karakia, could you clarify what the main problem is? Is it the fact that it's a religious prayer, or is it the cost that it's cost to bring people in, or is it the fact that it's culture?
Well, it's both those things. I mean, since we got rid of enforced spirituality, people have been much better off. I mean, a lot of the arguments for, say, the prohibition of abortion or euthanasia or even homosexuality were really spiritual beliefs imposed on another person. Now we say, look, we're not going to do that anymore, we just let people get on with their lives. I'm saying the same thing with building stuff so we can have more affordable stuff in the shops. If you impose your spirituality and say you have to do it according to my spiritual beliefs, it's going to be slower and more expensive.
Who's enforcing it though? Because a lot of the companies actually electively want to do it. They're not being forced to it in a lot of cases though.
Really? You don't think that it's actually criteria of their resource consent? Because that's exactly what Simon Court's demonstrated that it is. And of course they come and say, oh no, we're a responsible corporate citizen. We love this stuff, because they're not going to say anything else, are they? And that's why I'm standing up for them.
Do you think they're lying?
I think that they've discovered that if you've got a responsibility to your shareholders, taking on this battle against this pervasive insanity we have in this country is too expensive. That's why you need politicians to take it on.
Do you have a message to Judith Collins after her trip to the hospital?
Yeah, I was really shocked to hear it, and I hope that she has a fast recovery. She's a pretty tough battler. It'll take a bit more than a bit of vertigo to take her down.
Where is that on the amalgamation regional councils? You made some remarks today. The government obviously hasn't made any decisions yet. What do you think about amalgamation?
Look, I think it's horses for courses. That people say it's always good to amalgamate, it's always good to be local. That's not true. I think it depends on the purpose, and that's going to come out of the resource management reforms.
Do you feel like it should be done by a referendum first?
Potentially, but let's work out where we're up to and how much responsibility there is. Look, folks, I got to get going. Despite the fact that I'm only in Wellington to answer questions for Chris, and the opposition aren't asking any Prime Minister questions. Well, it's a very good example of the opposition wasting taxpayer money. See you guys later.